Experiences of separation and the effects they have had on her mental health is tonight's special guest, Candy Delore. Hello, Candy.
Hello, Chrissy.
First time you're talking about this on TV, so first of all, thank you very much for coming and sharing something so personal, but it is obviously for the benefit of our viewers that maybe are going through something similar or have been through something and it's still affecting them in some way.
Definitely.
So can you tell us about your experiences with separation?
Well, I've only been in 2 long-term relationships and they both ended in me falling pregnant, and that's what led to the separations. Both my ex-partners did not want to become fathers. They felt like they weren't ready, and that's how both of my long-term relationships ended, with me being pregnant and becoming a single mother.
So when it happened the first time, what kind of things were going through your mind? Because obviously it's someone that you were sharing your life with, you loved, and then to hear those words, look, I don't want to be with you because you're pregnant. What did that feel like? Yeah,
like I said, it was a long-term relationship. We're actually living together.
Wow.
So for him to then, turn around and say, look, this is not what I want, and in fact the relationship is not what I want either anymore, it was heartbreaking, and I had to move out and literally start my whole life again, leave my job.
So pregnant and having to move out as well?
Yes, moved to a totally different area, different side of London. And literally had my mum pick me up for support and try and rebuild my life after that. However, it wasn't permanent, his absence. He did come back into my daughter's life when she was 6 months old. And then we got back together when she was a year old.
Yeah.
The relationship then lasted for about another 2 years. And when it broke down, probably because we just rushed back into it again, everything that had happened got swept underneath the carpet, you know.
Didn't really talk about it properly or resolve things.
Yes, I was just thinking, okay, this is great for my daughter, we can be a family, wrong decision. But we tried as best as we could, and the relationship failed and broke down. After that happened, I then reunited with one of my previous ex-partners, who was actually a first love of mine. And the relationship then continued for 5 years until I fell pregnant. When I fell pregnant, found myself in the same situation, unfortunately.
Same situation?
Yes.
Wow.
He said that he did not want to have a baby, he wasn't ready, he didn't want one with me, he didn't want one with anybody. At that time, he'd already had 2 children with somebody else.
What did that do to your confidence?
Oh, it knocked it, and it damaged it very, very badly. I mean, with it being the second time, the first time I was more heartbroken and upset and devastated, but the second time I was angry, I was raging, I was fuming, livid. And I actually drove myself into depression, into a deep, dark depression, which led to me, unfortunately, having my children taken away by social services for 8 months while they tried to help me piece my life back together. So they gave my children to my daughter's paternal grandmother. And during that time, I was sent on various parental courses, confidence classes, just different things to try to help me rebuild, my self-esteem, my confidence, because I was just a shell of myself. I wasn't looking the same, I wasn't speaking the same, I just didn't have any pride in my appearance. I didn't care about myself anymore. I didn't love myself, and when that happened, a lot of professional people got involved in my life, specifically because my daughter has special needs. So they were concerned about how I was able to, manage taking care of her and coping with everything as a single mother. When the day came that social services actually removed my children from my care, like I said, I was going through postnatal depression. I was very, very angry.
Oh God, so many things on top of the other.
Yes. And the police were called because I was resisting, and they said that I appeared to be too emotional, angry, and out of control.
Oh dear.
Yes.
Well, if you are taking your children, I can understand, right?
Yes. When the police arrived, a doctor, a doctor was called, a doctor that I don't know. But however, this doctor was from my GP surgery, but my doctor wasn't available. This doctor, his opinion on me was that I needed to be taken to a mental health hospital. So then I was told by the police if I did not go, they would have me sectioned. I had to go to the mental health hospital. I was very scared when I arrived there by what I saw. I felt, as soon as I got there immediately, I do not belong in this place. And I was very, very upset. I felt let down, you know. I felt like I'd already suffered so much loss. I didn't know where my children were at that point, and here I was, you know. I was in there for less than 2 hours.
Really?
Yeah, I called somebody and I had to run away.
Okay.
As it was a Friday, the whole weekend I spent hiding from the police because there was a warrant issued for my arrest. And on the Monday morning, got straight to my lawyers who arranged psychiatric tests with different doctors, and I finally got to see my own doctor, and they said, look, she has got postnatal depression. You know, she doesn't need to be sectioned. She should not have been taken to that mental health hospital. And social services said that it wasn't them who actually, you know, suggested that, it was the police. After that was sorted out, we were then able to move on into getting me the right support I needed to try and, you know, get over this postnatal depression. And that consisted of counsellors, therapists, like I said, different activities and courses.
Were you receptive to that, or were you like kind of, because sometimes people might think, oh, I've had my kids taken away, I just want my kids back and just stop putting me through all these tests. But were you at that point, okay, let me actually go with this and actually try to take in this help that people are offering me, or were you a bit resistant?
Honestly, at first, I just did it because I wanted my children home. Okay. I was very upset with social services because I felt like I'd been through a lot before we even got to the stage for us to be able to sit down and speak about, okay, this is what you need to do, you know? Okay. So I was very angry. But as time went on, I realised what they were trying to do. Okay. I actually noticed these people are helping me, and I'm feeling a lot better. You know, I felt like I was coming back to life better than I was before. And everything slowly but surely started coming together. When my children were returned home to me after 8 months,
what was that like?
It was the best day ever. Wow. Yes, when they returned home to me, we went on holiday to St. Lucia for 3 months just to get away from it all. And when I returned, I dug out some of the things that I'd written in my pregnancy journals from 2004 to 2010, put everything I'd written together, and it formed my first book called Abandoned Pregnant. From there, I went on to starting my own website, creating a support, an online support group for abandoned teenage pregnant girls and women who need support, who are feeling like they're alone and there's nobody else out there they can talk to or who understands them. Because it's happening to a lot of women and teenage girls. And even though it's something we might hear about every day, when you are in this situation and you are feeling that pain, you're feeling that abandonment, that rejection, it is heartbreaking. And at the time, for me, I really struggled because not having a relationship with my own biological father yet at that time. I do now, fortunately.
Oh, good.
But then I felt very rejected, and I thought, oh my goodness, you know, my own father didn't want me, and now it's happening to my 2 children as well. So I saw the cycle and I thought, oh my goodness, you know, I felt really bad for the choices that I'd made in life. And that's a chapter that I've also added into the book of Abandoned Pregnant. Women have to also, you know, as much as we can blame the men, we have to accept the responsibility for our choices as well, and we have to love ourselves. It's so important that...
Do you love yourself today?
Yes, now I do. I love myself more than ever. Especially after
How does that feel now? Because obviously you've been through so much, like you said, your childhood and then the relationships and all that trauma that you experienced.
Yes.
What's it like now to love yourself and to be happy?
It's amazing. It's amazing, especially as I can remember when I didn't love myself and how I treated myself back then compared to now. You know, it's the happiness it shows in my life. My children are happy. I'm happy. You know, our vibe, everything about us is changed. You know, and I'm very grateful for.
Candy, can you just give an example? Once people hear that you need to love yourself, how in practice do you actually love yourself? In what sense?
Okay, well, how I love myself is by staying true to me and not going after things that will give me temporary pleasure or that will just satisfy me for that time, for the time being. I try to make sure everything I do now is going to benefit myself and my children first and foremost. So
there's more thinking behind things before you make decisions.
Definitely. And you know, the people I choose to be around, because you know, like they say, who you are around has a big impact in your life. So
we did talk about that on the programme.
So I try to keep myself around positive people. and people who've got ambition and goals and
brilliant.
Like that, yeah.
So, Candy, if there's anyone watching now that has been abandoned in some male or female, maybe by their parents or by partners and stuff, what advice would you give to them?
There's help out there, and I think that's the main thing I want to get